I read the comments, I knew better. I read the comments anyway. I read the comments, curiosity won, and now my day has changed. The article ended, the video ended, everything was fine, perfectly fine. I could have left satisfied, informed, at peace. Instead I kept scrolling toward a section of the internet with a long history of making things worse. The warning signs were visible. I read the comments, I knew better. I read the comments anyway. I read the comments, curiosity won, and now my day has changed. The content was helpful, the comments were not, and somehow I continued reading. The first comment disagreed with everything. The second comment disagreed with the first. The third comment introduced a brand new topic nobody had mentioned up to that point. By the 10th comment, people were arguing about something completely unrelated to the original video. Things escalated remarkably fast. I read the comments, the situation worsened, the scrolling continued. I read the comments, and honestly, that's on me. Every answer created new questions, most of them concerning humanity in general. Maybe every comment section starts the same way. A few opinions, a few observations, a few reasonable points. Then somehow the conversation takes a sharp turn into territory nobody was prepared to defend. I read the comments, not because I needed more information, not because the article was unclear, not because the internet requested my participation. I read the comments because somewhere between common sense and curiosity, I convinced myself that this time the comment section would be different. And honestly, I should have known better. The password was wrong again. I know this password, we've met before. The password was wrong again. One of us is mistaken. The login page appeared full of confidence and expectation. It asked for my password, a password I created specifically to solve this problem. I typed it carefully, character by character. The website responded immediately with disappointment. This relationship has become complicated. The password was wrong again. I know this password, we've met before. The password was wrong again. One of us is mistaken. I've used it before, I've remembered it before. I've successfully entered this exact combination of nonsense before. Maybe it needed a capital letter, maybe it wanted a symbol, maybe it demanded a number I forgot existed. I tried another version, then another version, then the version I was absolutely certain would work. The website remained unimpressed. The confidence dropped, the guesses increased. The password was wrong again. The evidence is mounting, the certainty privacy is fading. The password was wrong again, and we're approaching the reset phase, a place nobody visits voluntarily. The website suggested creating a stronger password, one impossible to guess, one impossible to remember, one impossible to type without consulting 3 separate documents and perhaps an archaeologist. The password was wrong again, not because security is bad, not because the website hates me, not because technology enjoys creating suspense. The password was wrong again because somewhere in the past I created an incredibly secure system and accidentally protected the account from myself. This recipe has a life story. I just wanted the ingredients. This recipe has a life story, and we're only at chapter 3. I searched for chocolate chip cookies, a simple request, a humble request. The page loaded and immediately introduced me to a childhood memory from the summer of 1998 in a small town near a farmer's market I have never visited. The cookies remain unaccounted for. This recipe has a life story. I just wanted the ingredients. This recipe has a life story, and we're only at chapter 3. I've met grandparents, I've met neighbors, I've learned about personal growth. The recipe remains a rumor. The author discovered the meaning of life while picking blueberries, then overcame adversity through baking, then shared a touching story about friendship and seasonal produce. I'm genuinely happy things worked out for everyone involved, but the oven is already preheating. Time is becoming a factor. This recipe has a life story. The emotions are real, the measurements are hiding. This recipe has a life story, and honestly, I'm invested now. At this point, I need to know how the story ends, almost as much as I need the recipe. Maybe every recipe blog starts with food, then becomes a memoir, a travel journal, a philosophy book, and a weather report, before eventually remembering why we're all here in the first place. This recipe has a life story, not because stories are bad, not because memories aren't important, not because the internet forgot its purpose. This recipe has a life story, because somewhere between cooking and publishing, someone decided the cookies deserved a full biography. And honestly, after scrolling this far, I kind of agree. Accept all cookies, that's the question. Accept all cookies, that's the choice. Accept all cookies, or spend the afternoon reading things nobody reads. I clicked a website, a perfectly normal, ordinary website. The page appeared, then immediately a giant box covered everything, asking me to make an important decision about data, privacy, and 17 categories of track I'd never heard of. The article vanished. The paperwork arrived. Accept all cookies, that's the question. Accept all cookies, that's the choice. Accept all cookies, or spend the afternoon reading things nobody reads. The website wants answers. I want the article we're negotiating from different priorities. There was a button for settings, another button for preferences, another button for partners, another button for legitimate interest, which sounds like something a lawyer invented at 3 in the morning. The accept all button was enormous. The other options required a map. Convenience entered. The chat accept all cookies, the resistance weakened, the scrolling resumed. Accept all cookies, and honestly, I knew how this would end. The banner was patient, I was not. Maybe every internet user has signed thousands of agreements. Without reading them, we all nod politely at legal documents. Longer than novels, then immediately continue. Looking at videos of dogs doing unusual things. Accept all cookies, not because I understand them, not because I studied the policy, not because the website offered a persuasive argument. Accept all cookies, because somewhere between curiosity and convenience, I made the same decision as everyone else. And honestly, the cookies seemed very confident. The Wi-Fi knows I'm busy. The Wi-Fi knows exactly when. The Wi-Fi knows I'm busy, and that's when it disappears. Everything was working perfectly. The signal was strong, the speed was strong. The universe appeared to support my productivity. I joined the meeting, opened the document, started the upload, and immediately watched the connection begin questioning its commitment to the relationship. The timing was remarkable. The Wi-Fi knows I'm busy. The Wi-Fi knows exactly when. The Wi-Fi knows I'm busy, and that's when it disappears. All morning, no problems, one important task, and suddenly the signal develops personal boundaries. I checked the router, I checked the cables, I performed the ancient ritual of turning things off and back on again. The lights blinked, the connection returned long enough to inspire hope, then vanished with renewed confidence. Trust was damaged today. The Wi-Fi knows I'm busy. The pattern is obvious, the evidence is growing. The Wi-Fi knows I'm busy, and honestly, I'm taking it personally. The second the deadline arrives, the signal begins its migration to another dimension. Maybe the internet can sense urgency. Maybe somewhere deep inside the router, a tiny observer waits for the exact moment. You need reliability before pressing a large red button marked "Not today." The Wi-Fi knows I'm busy, not because possible time. I reset this password yesterday. I specifically remember resetting it. I reset this password yesterday, and somehow we're back here again. The website asked for my password, a reasonable request, a familiar request, the kind of request I had already solved. Less than 24 hours ago, I remembered the frustration, the verification code, the special character requirements. The entire journey was still fresh in my memory. The password was not. I reset this password yesterday. I specifically remember resetting it. I reset this password yesterday, and somehow we're back here again. I've experienced too much character growth to be repeating this chapter already. Maybe I changed one letter, maybe I added one symbol, maybe I created a brilliant system that made perfect sense at the time. A system so secure and so sophisticated that even I can no longer access it. Security levels remain extremely high. I reset this password yesterday. The memory exists, the access does not. I reset this password yesterday, and honestly the website seems a little judgmental at this point. We're seeing each other more often than some relatives. The reset process began. Once again, a code was sent, a box was checked, a robot was questioned, a new password was created using rules that would challenge a cryptographer. With unlimited free time, I reset this password yesterday. Not because the website changed, not because technology is broken, not because memory officially resigned. I reset this password yesterday because somewhere between creating the perfect password and typing the perfect password, my brain quietly decided that future me could handle it, and future me is not impressed. In 5 seconds, the longest 5 seconds known to humanity. Skip ahead. In 5 seconds, the longest 5 seconds known to humanity. Skip ahead. In 5 seconds, I'm counting everyone. I clicked a video, a simple video, a harmless video with a clear purpose. I wanted information, entertainment, a quick answer to a quick question. Instead, I was introduced to a product, a service, and a level of enthusiasm I did not request. The timer appeared, hope appeared. In 5 seconds, the longest 5 seconds known to humanity. In 5 seconds, I'm counting everyone. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. I've never been A special skill, the ability to stare directly at an advertisement without absorbing any information. A kind of digital meditation powered entirely by stubbornness. Skip ad in 5 seconds, not because ads are evil, not because companies are wrong, not because marketing personally targeted me. Skip our second, because somewhere between the content and the interruption, a tiny countdown timer became the most exciting thing on my screen. And honestly, that's a difficult competition to win. I opened one tab, that was the plan, the entire plan. I opened one tab and things escalated quickly. I needed one answer, a simple answer, a specific answer, the kind of answer you can find in 30 seconds with minimal effort. I opened a tab, typed a question, found a result, clicked a link, and immediately encountered 3 more questions. Curiosity is rarely a solo activity. I opened one tab, that was the plan, the entire plan. I opened one tab and things escalated quickly. 1 link became 3 links, 3 links became 7 links. The browser began expanding like a universe. This article referenced another article, which referenced a video, which referenced a study, which referenced a topic I suddenly needed to understand, despite living perfectly well without it. 5 minutes earlier, the mission changed several times. I opened one tab, the original goal is still missing. I opened one tab, and honestly, I'm impressed. At this point, the answer could be anywhere among the digital forest I've created. Maybe every tab represents optimism, a belief that you'll return. Read everything, learn everything, finish everything, and emerge as a wiser, more organized person than the one who started the search. I opened one tab, not because the internet is confusing, not because search engines are evil, not because my attention span filed a complaint. I opened one tab because somewhere between finding an answer and finding a better answer, my browser quietly became a monument to unfinished curiosity. The website moved everything, everything was fine yesterday. The website moved everything, and now we're all starting over. I visited a familiar page, a page I knew, a page I trusted. The button was there for years, the menu was there for years, the settings were there for years. Then somebody held a meeting and made decisions. The redesign arrived without warning. The website moved everything, everything was fine yesterday. The website it. Somewhere the website moved everything. The goal remains, the map has changed. The website moved everything. And honestly, nobody asked me. The old layout had flaws, of course it did, but at least I knew where the flaws were. Maybe every redesign starts the same way. A group of people with good intentions, looking at charts and metrics and diagrams, then accidentally creating a scavenger hunt for millions of unsuspecting users. The website moved everything, not because the old version was perfect, not because change is bad, not because progress should stop. The website moved everything because somewhere in a conference room someone said we should make this more intuitive. And honestly, that's usually when the adventure begins. Your session has expired. That's interesting because I'm still here. Your session has expired, apparently without consulting me. I was halfway through a form, a long form, a detailed form, the kind of form that asked questions you haven't thought about since 2017. I was making progress, saving nothing, trusting everything. Then a message appeared with devastating confidence. The website had news for me. Your session has expired. That's interesting because I'm still here. Your session has expired, apparently without consulting me. I didn't leave, I didn't log out, I didn't disappear. Yet somehow the session found a way. An hour of typing vanished, an hour of clicking vanished, an hour of carefully entering information became a memory. The website suggested logging in again, as if that solved the emotional aspect of the situation. Trust was not automatically restored. Your session has expired. The work is gone, the lesson remains. Oh, your session has expired. And honestly, this feels personal. At this point, the website and I need to discuss our expectations for the future. Maybe every website contains a timer, quietly counting down, watching patiently, waiting for the exact moment you become comfortable before announcing that your relationship has ended due to inactivity, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Your session has expired, not because I was careless, not because I ignored warnings, not because technology enjoys drama. Your session has expired because somewhere deep inside a server decided that 60 minutes was enough time for anyone to achieve their dreams. And honestly, I think that server needs more life experience.
I came here for one thing, one specific thing. That was the mission. I came here for one thing, and now now it's 3 hours later. The search began, with purpose, with direction, with confidence. I knew exactly what I needed. A quick answer, a quick purchase, a quick check, a quick task. The word quick was doing a lot of work in this plan. The internet noticed immediately. I came here for one thing, one specific thing. That was the mission. I came here for one thing, and now it's 3 hours later. The objective remains technically possible. The timeline has experienced changes. I found an article, then another article, then a video, then a recommendation, then a completely unrelated topic that somehow became essential to investigate. I learned things, useful things, useless things, and one surprisingly detailed fact about octopuses for reasons I can no longer explain. The journey expanded dramatically. I came here for one thing. The destination shifted, curiosity remained. I came here for one thing, and honestly, I regret nothing. What? Almost nothing. The original task would have been nice to complete. Maybe every online search is really an invitation, a suggestion, a gentle reminder that knowledge connects to other knowledge, and eventually to a video you never intended to watch, but somehow watch anyway. I came here for one thing, not because the goal was unclear, not because it didn't trick me, not because my focus officially retired. I came here for one thing, 'cause somewhere between answer and a better answer, the internet opened 100 doors, and honestly I walked through every single one. Please create an account for reasons that remain unclear. Please create an account to continue doing the thing you came here to do. I clicked a link, a simple link, a harmless link, a perfectly ordinary link. The page loaded, the content appeared, I could almost see the information. Then a box arrived asking me to begin a lifelong relationship with a website I met 7 seconds ago. Things escalated unexpectedly. Please create an account for reasons that remain unclear. Please create an account to continue doing the thing you came here to do. I wanted one sentence, the website wanted my email, my password, and apparently my commitment. The form requested a username, a password, a stronger password, an even stronger password, a special character, a verification code, and possibly the name of my first pet. At this point, the website knows more about me than some relatives. The article remains locked away. Please create an account. The content is waiting. The page useful enough to start another password collection. Maybe every website dreams of community, membership, engagement, loyalty. Maybe every website looks at a visitor and thinks this could be a beautiful friendship, while the visitor thinks I just needed one recipe. Please create an account, not because the website is evil, not because registration is wrong, not because technology enjoys forms. Oh, please create an account because somewhere a marketing team looked at a perfectly simple task and decided it would be better with paperwork. And honestly, they were very committed to that idea. The loading circle won again. I had momentum for a moment. The loading circle won again, and now we're both just waiting. I clicked the button responded. The page considered its options. A loading circle appeared, calm, confident, unhurried. The kind of confidence usually associated with someone who knows you have nowhere else to be. Time slowed down noticeably. The loading circle won again. I had momentum for a moment. The loading circle won again, and now we're both just waiting. The task was ready, I was ready. The loading circle had other plans. I watched it spin round and round, offering no updates, no timeline, no explanation. Just a silent promise that something might be happening somewhere beyond my understanding. Or perhaps nothing was happening at all. The mystery deepened with every rotation. The loading circle won again. The progress paused, the suspense continued. Oh, the loading circle won again, and honestly, I respect the commitment. At this point, the circle has spent more time with me than the actual website. Maybe every loading screen represents optimism, a belief that eventually something good will happen. Not now, not soon, but eventually. A philosophy shared by loading circles and people waiting for software updates. The loading circle won again. Not because the internet is broken, not because the server dislikes me, not because technology enjoys building tension. The loading circle won again because somewhere between my request and the answer, a tiny spinning icon became the most powerful object in the entire system. And honestly, it knows it. Someone is wrong on the internet. This should not concern me. Someone is wrong on the internet, and somehow here we are. I was relaxing, enjoying my evening, living my life, minding my business. Then I saw a comment, a very confident, very incorrect, spectacularly incorrect comment about a topic I happen to know something about. This was unfortunate for both of us. Someone is wrong on the internet. This should not concern me. Someone is wrong on the internet, and somehow here we are. I could walk away, I should walk away. Instead I'm opening a new tab for research. I gathered sources, I gathered facts, I gathered evidence like a lawyer preparing for trial. I drafted responses, edited responses, deleted responses, rewrote responses. At one point, I had footnotes for a conversation nobody requested. The stakes remained extremely low. Someone is wrong on the internet. The situation is minor, the commitment is not. Someone is wrong on the internet, and honestly, I've gone too far. The original comment had 3 likes. I've invested an entire evening into the matter. Maybe every internet argument starts with hope, a belief that facts will solve things, then gradually becomes 2 strangers writing longer and longer messages, while neither one changes their mind even slightly. Someone is wrong on the internet, not because the issue is important, not because civilization depends on it, not because I was personally chosen for this mission. Is wrong on the internet because somewhere deep inside a tiny part of my brain still believes the next comment will finally resolve everything. And honestly, that part of my brain is incredibly optimistic. I agreed without reading. That feels like an important detail. I agreed without reading, and now we're both living with it. A document appeared long, very long, the kind of long that begins with a scroll bar, the size of a breadcrumb. I was offered a choice, read everything or continue with my day. The decision arrived quickly, efficiency defeated curiosity. I agreed without reading. That feels like an important detail. I agreed without reading, and now we're both living with it. The terms were presented, the terms were accepted, the terms remain a complete mystery. There were sections, subsections, references, definitions, conditions, additional conditions, and what appeared to be a legal document large enough to qualify as recreational reading for somebody with very specific hobbies. I skipped ahead courageously. I agreed without reading. The confidence was high, the knowledge was low. I agreed without reading, and honestly, so did everyone else. At this point, entire industries appear to function on the assumption that nobody is reading. Page 47. Maybe somewhere a lawyer spent months crafting every sentence, choosing every word, perfecting every clause, and watched millions of people click accept in under 2 seconds without even blinking. I agreed without reading. Not because the document was bad, not because the rules were unfair, not because reading is impossible. I agree, without reading, because somewhere between convenience and responsibility, a button appeared labeled accept, and honestly, the alternative looked like homework.
This could have been an email, a very short email at that. This could have been an email, and yet here we are on a video call. The invitation arrived mysterious, urgent, important looking. A meeting, about a meeting to discuss a topic that might eventually become a decision. At some point in the future I clicked join. Against my better judgment, the camera activated, regret activated. This could have been an email, a very short email at that. This could have been an email, and yet here we are on a video call. 30 minutes passed, several slides appeared. The information content remained theoretical. Someone shared a screen, someone lost audio. Someone said, "Can everyone see this?" Someone said, "You're muted." The discussion continued in widening circles around a point we briefly approached but never actually reached. Momentum was observed, results were not. This could have been an email. The technology worked, the purpose did not. This could have been an email, and honestly a text message might have covered it. The conclusion arrived exactly where the introduction started, which felt efficient in a strange way. Maybe meetings exist to reassure everyone that work is happening. People are present, words are being exchanged, boxes are being checked, and occasionally a decision escapes into the real world by accident. This could have been an email, not because meetings are useless, not because discussion is bad, not because collaboration fails. This could have been an email because somewhere beneath 40 minutes of conversation was one sentence doing all the work, and honestly that sentence would have fit in the subject line. The update changed everything except what needed fixing. The update changed everything except what needed fixing, and now we're all learning again. The notification arrived, cheerful, optimistic, full of promises, new and improved, better than ever, enhanced experience. The kind of phrases that sound encouraging right before something important moves to a different menu. The excitement was one-sided. The update changed everything except what needed fixing. The update changed everything except what needed fixing, and now we're all learning again. The bug survived, the buttons migrated, the confusion received several new features. The icons changed, the colors changed, the layout changed, the names changed. The one problem everyone complained about remained untouched, like a protected landmark of historical significance. Meanwhile, 3 familiar settings disappeared into a submenu, hidden behind another submenu. Progress took an interesting route. The update changed everything except what needed fixing. The roadmap advanced, the destination wandered. The update changed everything except what needed fixing. And honestly, I'm impressed. It takes talent to redesign an entire system while carefully avoiding the actual issue. Maybe every update starts with good intentions. A team, a deadline, a presentation, a vision. Then somewhere between the planning and the release, the original problem quietly slips out the back door. The update changed everything except what needed fixing. Not because the developers failed, not because the software is doomed, not because change is the enemy. The update changed everything except what needed fixing. Because somewhere in a meeting, a chart looked important, a metric looked promising. And honestly, the broken button never stood a chance. My camera looked better yesterday. I have evidence somewhere. My camera looked better yesterday, and today we have questions. I joined the call prepared, professional, reasonably confident. The lighting was familiar, the room was familiar. My face was also the same face I've been using for years. Yet somehow the camera revealed a completely different interpretation. The technology had creative opinions. My camera looked better yesterday. I have evidence somewhere. My camera looked better yesterday, and today we have questions. The resolution changed, the colors changed, my confidence changed almost immediately. I adjusted the angle, I adjusted the lighting, I adjusted settings, I adjusted expectations. Nothing helped, the camera continued its artistic journey toward a version of reality nobody requested. At one point I considered turning it off for everyone's benefit. Negotiations were unsuccessful. My camera looked better yesterday. The facts are unclear, the suspicion remains. My camera looked better yesterday, and honestly, I miss that camera. That camera understood the assignment. This one appears to be experimenting. Maybe every webcam has moods. Some days it cooperates, some days it introduces shadows from impossible angles, and somehow discovers new ways to make a perfectly normal human face look concerned about taxes. My camera looked better yesterday. Not because I changed dramatically, not because the lighting revolted, not because technology enjoys mischief. My camera looked better yesterday because somewhere between reality and video compression, a tiny computer made several decisions. And honestly, I would like to appeal them. Reply all was a mistake. A very public, very immediate mistake. Reply all was a mistake, and now the notifications begin. The email arrived in my inbox. One message among many. A simple question, a simple response. A perfectly ordinary part of the day. I clicked reply, typed my answer, press send. With confidence then noticed one important detail. The audience was larger than expected. Reply all was a mistake. A very public, very immediate mistake. Reply all was a mistake, and now the notifications begin. My message was intended for one person. The entire organization received a copy for educational purposes. People began responding to the thread, then responding to the responses, then responding to the people, responding to the responses. At some point, the original topic escaped completely, leaving behind a self-sustaining ecosystem of email. The situation evolved rapidly. Reply all was a mistake. The lesson is clear, the damage is done. Was a mistake, and honestly, I knew better. The button was there, the warning signs were there, the consequences arrived exactly as advertised. Maybe every office, every school, every organization has witnessed the great reply all chain, a digital monument to human optimism, built one accidental click at a time, until somebody finally intervenes. Reply all was a mistake, not because email is bad, not because communication failed, not because the button is evil. Was a mistake because somewhere between efficiency and enthusiasm, I accidentally invited several hundred people into a conversation they absolutely did not need to attend. The algorithm thinks I need this. The algorithm thinks it understands me. The algorithm thinks I need this, and honestly, I'm concerned. I watched one video, one innocent video, a harmless video about fixing a chair. The next day, my recommendations contain 17 chairs, 9 woodworking channels, 3 power tools, and what appeared to be a documentary about lumber. The conclusions were aggressive. The algorithm thinks I need this. The algorithm thinks it understands me. The algorithm thinks I need this, and honestly, I'm concerned. One click became an entire personality. According to data, I am now the chairperson. I searched one thing out of curiosity, just one thing, a temporary interest. The algorithm responded with complete certainty. Apparently, this is my passion, my hobby, my identity, and my future for the next 6 months at minimum. Nuance was not part of the process. The algorithm thinks I need this. The confidence is impressive. The accuracy varies. Algorithm thinks I need this, and honestly, I admire the commitment at this point. one time. And suddenly every gift, every suggestion, every conversation is pizza related. Until the end of time. The algorithm thinks I need this, not because the technology is evil, not because the data is wrong, not because computers enjoy guessing. The algorithm thinks I need this because somewhere between one click and 1,000 predictions, a machine built an entire version of who I am. And honestly, that person sounds a lot more interesting than me.
I came here for one answer, one tiny thing to fix. The video said this only takes a minute, which felt optimistic. First we covered the basics, then we covered the history, then we covered things completely unrelated to my situation. We're 20 minutes in, and I know a lot except the thing I came for. I watched the entire tutorial, every second of it. I learned 17 facts I didn't need. I watched the entire tutorial, start to finish, and somehow the problem still exists. There's dramatic background music, there's a sponsored segment, there's a story about how this changed their life. There's a comment saying this worked perfectly 3 years ago on a different version of the software. I came for one answer, now I have a certificate. I watched the entire tutorial, every second of it. I learned 17 facts I didn't need. I watched the entire tutorial, start to finish, and somehow the problem still exists. But now I know keyboard shortcuts, advanced settings, industry terminology, and several opinions about content creation, none of which solved anything. I watched the entire tutorial. The sun is setting, my coffee is gone, my motivation is fading. I watched the entire tutorial, and after all that, the solution was hidden in the first 30 seconds of the video. I'm searching for the answer, the same answer as before. I type the same question into the same search bar. The results appear like old friends who have watched me make this mistake repeatedly. Every link is purple, every single one. Apparently we've been here many times. I don't remember finding the answer, but I definitely looked for it. This link is already purple. I've clicked it before. I've read this article at least 3 times. This link is already purple, and somehow I'm hoping the answer has changed since yesterday. Yesterday I opened the first result, then the second, then the third. which turns out to be the first result. Again, in a different format. The forum thread is familiar, the screenshots are familiar, even the typo looks familiar. Yet here I am, reading everything again. Maybe this time the information will cooperate. This link is already purple. I've clicked it before. I've read this article and list 3 times. This link is already purple, and somehow I'm hoping the answer has changed since yesterday. It's yesterday. At this point, the browser knows, the website knows, the search engine knows. Only I seem surprised to discover that I've already searched this 6 different times. This link is already purple. The answer was here the entire time, waiting patiently. This link is already purple, which means the real mystery is why I forgot it again. This link is already purple, and tomorrow there's a very good chance I'll click it again. I came online for one completely reasonable reason. Check a message, maybe watch a video. Then suddenly it's 12:43, and I'm comparing 5 different versions of something I didn't know existed an hour ago. The day version of me would never buy this. The midnight version has different priorities. I should not be shopping at midnight. Nothing good happens after 12. Every product seems necessary. Every deal seems urgent. I should not be shopping at midnight, but somehow everything looks like a life-changing opportunity. A life-changing opportunity. The reviews are convincing, the photos are convincing, the algorithm is convincing. The countdown timer feels a little suspicious, but I'm willing to overlook that, because apparently my future happiness depends on owning this extremely specific item by Thursday. Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Unfortunately, yes. Oh, I should not be shopping at midnight. Nothing good happens after 12. Every product seems necessary. Every deal seems urgent. I should not be shopping at midnight, but somehow everything looks like a life-changing opportunity. Free shipping, limited stock, only 3 remaining. People also bought, people also love, people also apparently have more self-control than I do. I should not be shopping at midnight. The cart is full, my judgment is gone, and the checkout button looks extremely persuasive. I should not be shopping at midnight, but tomorrow morning a package will be coming. And honestly, that's a problem for future me. The article seems straightforward, the instructions look clear. I was paying attention for most of it, I read the introduction, I read the examples, I nodded confidently at several points. Then somehow the one sentence that actually mattered slipped right past me. I understood the background, the context, the history, the side notes, just not the answer. I missed the important part, the one thing I needed, the crucial detail, the entire point. I missed the important part, and now I'm back trying to figure out what everyone else already knows. The comments understood it, my coworker understood it, the tutorial understood it, the fake understood it. Meanwhile, I'm reading the same paragraph for the fourth time, like it might reveal new information out of sympathy. The answer was there, I was somewhere else. Mentally, I missed the important part, the one thing I needed, the crucial detail, the entire point. I missed the important part, and now I'm back trying to figure out what everyone else already knows. Maybe I was distracted, maybe I was tired, maybe I was tired, maybe another tab started making demands, maybe my attention span accepted a better offer. We'll never know. I missed the important part. It was highlighted, bolded, underlined, and somehow still escaped. I missed the important part, but after 30 minutes of unnecessary confusion, I finally found it, exactly where it had been the whole time. I asked a simple question. The internet had answers, lots of answers, thousands of answers. Some sounded confident, some sounded scientific, some were written entirely in capital letters, and somehow they all disagreed with each other. At this point, I'm not looking for certainty, I'm looking for consensus. The internet is just guessing too. We're all pretending to know what's going on a little more than we do. The internet is just guessing too. Behind every answer is another person trying their best. The comments have theories, the forums have theories, the experts have theories, the influencers definitely have theories. One article says yes, another says no, a third says it depends, which feels suspiciously honest compared to everybody else. The more I read, the more everybody sounds human. The internet is just guessing too. We're all pretending to know what's going on a little more than we do. The internet is just guessing too. Behind every answer is another person trying their best. Somebody learned yesterday, somebody learned 5 minutes ago. Somebody copied somebody else, somebody forgot the source. Somebody sounds convincing, somebody is convincing, and sometimes they're the same person. The internet is just guessing too. Maybe that's the secret. Nobody has everything figured out. We're all comparing notes. The internet is just guessing too. And somehow, despite all the confusion, most things work out including me, including you. And that's probably okay.